In this particular episode of Positive Leadership, I want to discuss the issue of boundaries and how important they are for a healthy work-life balance. Building fences is hard work, but maintaining them can be even harder. So, a couple of Saturdays ago, I was enjoying a late morning coffee when my cell phone buzzed unexpectedly. I thought, who in the world could be calling me on Saturday? I wondered. I checked the number on the phone, and it was one of my coworkers calling from the United States. I thought, that's rather odd. It's 10 p.m. there, 10 p.m. Friday night where he's at. Why on earth would he call me at 10 p.m.? Man, the dude has no boundaries. Well, I didn't answer the phone. And eventually, after it seemed like an eternity, it stopped ringing. I suspected that he was calling about a work-related issue, and I knew I did the right thing by not taking the call when he called again on Monday morning to discuss the issue that he wanted to talk to me about on his Friday night, my Saturday morning. I had stuck to my guns and maintained my work-life boundaries. He obviously didn't care about the boundaries and thought calling me on the weekend for a non-essential deadline was perfectly acceptable. Why such a blatant disregard for such work-life boundaries? And more importantly, how do you handle it? Well, in this case, it was simple. I refused to give in to my urge to pick up the phone and let that cell phone just keep on ringing. Now, this call is but one example of something that happens far too often in corporate life. The advent of the internet and virtual free worldwide internet calls have created what I would call a very nasty side effect. The always-on 24/7/365 work environment. Far too many corporate managers and even coworkers expect that a corporate lifestyle comes with the ability to always be able to reach out to fellow employees whenever and wherever they feel the need to reach out. Through verbal and written communication, these same people go out of their way to make sure that everyone knows their expectations about their fellow employees being always on. Well, right here and right now, I'm calling it out for what it is. At best, it's a form of 21st century narcissism, and at worst, it's a form of corporate bullying. Managers and coworkers who expect their people to pick up the phone anytime they call, day or night, are utterly disrespectful of their subordinates or coworkers. Well, if the practice was and is so inherently disrespectful and dysfunctional, why does it still go on in a large majority of corporations? Why? Because the Western-style corporate cultures of most companies either passively or even actively encourage it. Companies will give out all kinds of awards to people who are willing to work on demand. We even celebrate them in our corporate newsletters. Managers of all stripes will write performance reviews based on an individual's willingness to go far above and beyond the work needed to get the job done. The more overtime hours you are willing to accept, the greater your reward will be. Some managers I have worked for have even made veiled threats of termination if you are not willing to be always on. So until recently, most frontline employees have been willing to endure such abuse and fear their careers will stall if they don't buy into this always on mantra. But here is where I want to inject one of my secrets that more and more people are finding out about. That's this. You do not have to conform to the always-on culture. You can set real work-life boundaries. You won't lose your job. Not in today's environment. Not when everybody is desperately seeking out knowledge workers and can't get enough workers, and especially can't get enough knowledge workers. You're not going to lose your job. Now, you might not get that next pay hike. You might not get the next promotion. But really, who cares? Indeed, really, who cares? Now, if you answered this question by thinking, what do you mean, Dave? Of course I care. Promotions are great, and so is some extra pay. Well, suppose that is the first thought that comes to your mind when you read this. In that case, I think it just might be time for a little gut check. Yeah, you're right. Promotions and bonuses are great, but not at the expense of sacrificing relationships, especially those special relationships with your spouse, your children, and your extended family. By the way, I'm here to tell you, you can command those promotions and bonuses without all the extra overtime. How do I know? Because I'll tell you what, I've been there, done that. Now, this secret is not such a secret. It's not about taking on more work than you can reasonably handle. It's not about working more hours. It's about setting boundaries, knowing the work that you can reasonably do, negotiating that with your managers, and or delegating it down to people, because you don't want to be that person who's always overworked and overloaded. And it also means prioritizing the real important work and letting some of that non-important stuff kind of just slide. It also helps to do a little bit of humble bragging. By that, I mean let people know that you provide value. I've often been rewarded by management in the companies that I work for because of positive customer feedback. I have to tell you that a lot of the rewards have been unexpected, but the rewards came because everyone recognized the value that I brought to the customer. Now, if you're in the career game for the long haul, you must set healthy boundaries around your work life if you're going to prevent early career burnout. I want to end this with a quote. I wished I would have had more time to work, said no one ever on their deathbed. Work-life boundaries are important. So many corporations talk about, we have a good work-life balance. And it ends up turning out being a bunch of hooey. But I'm here to tell you, it's important for you as an employee to build those fences and maintain them, because an important work-life balance is essential to long-term career growth.